I'm Bettye Robertson. This is a portrayal of the historical EF4 tornado that came through Mayfield, Kentucky on December the 10th, 2021. It literally destroyed the municipal buildings and all in its path in our little town of 10,000 people. This quilt is my attempt to come to terms with my deep feelings. I used available fabrics to represent incidents and invite you to deal with this horror that we somehow lived through. At last count, 22 people in Mayfield lost their lives. 80 were lost in the state. Beginning in the center of the circle, this is the tornado. Proceed clockwise, the circles, and then this is what I call the eye of the storm, mistakenly. It's not called that. It is surrounded by wedges of destruction. Beginning at the top, these represented the frame buildings that were lost, just splintered all over. These white flowers represent the deaths of the adults, and the little red pieces are for their pets that they lost with them. The gray has the name of trees. There's red oak, black oak, dogwood, all kinds of trees printed on that. And that's what we lost. All kinds of trees were just everywhere on houses and cars and just trees everywhere. My son-in-law drove up, walked uptown to see how it looked when he came down for Christmas. And he said, Mama said, there's a house up there that you can barely see. There's a big root wad, a tree has fallen over, and that root wad is big enough that when you stand in the street, it hides the house. He said, I never saw such a big tree. The brown gingham represents the brick buildings that were gone. Businesses and homes and everything. Now this represents the 6 historic downtown churches. All but one were totally destroyed. One they're going to be able to repair, but yes. Now this one is the blue spirals. I call this a flurry of possessions. You think about if you could be sitting in here quiet and just looking out, and there were people flying through the air. There were furniture, equipment, everything just flying through the air. Now the brick buildings, I did notice this, and I mentioned it to others, and they said, yeah, it didn't fly through the air, they just fell down. And there would be big piles of a building, you couldn't even hardly see over where the brick had just fallen down in a spot. And I had never thought about that before. Then we get to this one. That was my effort to talk about the wildlife. I'm used to having wildlife in my yard, squirrels and different kind of birds. Well, they were all gone, and some of it was due to the winter, of course, but they haven't come back. I don't have any doves. I used to talk to the doves, and they're just not back. And the cardinals, I saw a couple a few days ago. Hope they're coming back. Now this red is for hope, and these are fronds like the fronds of a fern or wings. This represents the people that were in their safe places waiting for the storm to pass. They didn't have a fear because they knew their lives, even if lives were lost, they'd be carried back to Jesus on the wings of angels. The tiny tulips represent our infant babies, our little infants. There was 3 that was lost. Now the dismal blue is, to me, that's an ugly color. It's just dismal. And so that represents the people that were in their safe places that didn't have Christ to lean on. They had no hope. I could think about how sad that would be. Now up here we've got a candle. This is for the candle factory. We had a little factory that made candles, and it was really a busy time, and they were going 24 hours a day. And they had some work release prisoners in there that was helping them. Well, when it came, it killed the deputy sheriff that was there to watch after them. And one old guy that was one of the prisoners got hurt. But he looked and he saw 3 more people that were trapped. And he dug them out and saved their lives. I said, oh, people are good. Even they do bad things sometimes, but they're good. And you never know what's in their hearts. 8 people lost their lives there. There are many repeat patterns of fabric that have no meaning or just fillers. But I invite you to put your own meaning to some of the, whatever you see. And I've had people to do it. I've had to, look at certain things. That reminds me of what somebody did, or their parents or grandparents. And I was so encouraged when they did that. Beginning just outside the small circle is a spiral. It's not a circle, it's a spiral. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And this reached out about 8 blocks from the center of from the edge of the actual tornado. Of course, there was less damage further out you went, but still a good deal of damage. Leaving the middle circle starts the aftermath. The colors have changed. It's all different. This has happened, and now we're trying to accept and look at what happened. Notice the random placement of this fan pattern. Usually when you make a fan quilt, you'll have a pattern of setting them a certain way for a certain purpose. There's no pattern. It's chaos, total and complete chaos, like our little town is. There's an encouraging message in the corner of each of the fans. God's love is everlasting. Faith, hope, and love here. Just, let's just say that there. Hope, live a life with faith, hope, and love. That tells us if we hold on to what we can when we have, just like this, a pattern, and you just hold on, and all the things that are bad and the good. Now this is good stuff that's happening here, but just hold on. And here the goodness of people starts taking shape. The lower left is a Christmas design, showing that it was so close to Christmas. The people wearing aprons represent the food trucks cooking for volunteers and the ones with no homes. No one had electricity. Some were just walking, not knowing what to do or where to go. Many local restaurants that were not hit provided huge amounts of food. The purple with stars tell us that even behind all this dark, this black, where this just nothing seemed like, crushed in on us, behind that was the beauty of nature, the stars and the skies, the beauty of the color, just waiting for those forms to part where they could show again. It tells us that with depression, not the medical depression, but just we get depressed over things. I do. There's a sign of that. But if we can just hold on and get past the darkness that's bothering us so bad, then we can see the bright shining will come through. This is army green, the best I could come up with, and that's for the to remember the flags and memorabilia. These people had lost their husbands and their even now wives and their fathers and all. Well, they were veterans that lost their life. Well, they had this memorabilia of them, and so much of that was lost. This white fabric with toys represent the toys that people sent to our children. Now this 40s blue fabric, this is what they call a feed sack fabric. That represents the elder that were relocated as their nursing home was hit. They had been, like myself, elderly, and they had used this feed sack fabric. To me, it's beautiful. And then this is the horses and the barns of the smaller people. It didn't hit the big places as bad because they were further out, but it destroyed some of the little farms. The green with buds. This is precious here, where the people that donated hours and weeks of labor, handed out needed supplies, delivered water to homes. The ones that couldn't labor donated funds, and the individuals and organizations came and stayed from all over the country. The white and blue dot, white and red with white dots, um, is the pure joy that showed on the faces of families when they would talk to reporters. I saw one, the reporter saw the family and they were smiling. And he said, what did you all lose? And they said, we lost everything. What you see is all we have left. And he said, where do you find your joy? And they hugged that family together. They were all safe. What more could you have? The large corner of each block has got a little hand quilted in it that helps us to know that hands working together can accomplish amazing, amazing things. Directly above the circle, these red hearts show us the love that's all around. Our neighbors here and far away. To the right is the bandana fabric. That was, I talked earlier, to represent the farmers that brought their big equipment and helped clean up the places. The upper left side is a multiple stripe fabric. It looks like that would be, what could you say about multiple stripes? And then I thought about the highways coming in and going out, and the airways going in and going out, and it was full. What a representation. They were helping us for the constant activity of cars and trucks, so on, helping restore our utility, bringing generators, laundry trucks, kerosene and propane tanks, and the activity of planes. The outer border is a geometric print, and you'll see little houses are being built, and that's fine. That one person or that one family has got a house, but then you keep doing that, and after a while it starts to showing up. Now they're building little communities, just a whole, y'all probably saw some little communities of smaller houses, and one man had a little bit of acreage that he wasn't using, so he's putting tiny houses on it for single people and like couples, and it's just amazing what can be done if people do work together. There are many notable acts not represented, but know that all help was and is greatly appreciated. It has given us all courage to push forward with the rebuilding process, but with faith, hope, and love demonstrated not only by our friends and neighbors, but the ones that were strangers, but became our new circle of friends.